It shouldn't be so hard to book an artist.
Their managers are saying crap behind their backs.
Let's cut the humble.
No, they need to be
stuff.
put on a pedestal. Come
Yes.
There's no industry to start with.
Just
A
because
girl
we're
gotta
creative
eat.
doesn't mean we
I
want
mean,
to
you
be
have
broke.
to. Everybody else can go jump off a cliff.
These are the juicy parts. These are the juicy parts. Let's go there.
Can we, baby? There's a very then okay. If you're like full on creative in this society, you then have to learn business principles so that you can be in alignment with the business world, which is what brings out the money anyway. Unless if you're just doing the art for fun, there's no need to worry about.
Yeah, but like for the most part,
Yeah.
if you're not doing it for fun, you have a problem. Isn't it? I feel like if the creative industry needs you to enjoy it to some extent, because if you don't, it's not going to be fun. It's not you won't even be able to do it to the best of your ability.
I feel like anything at all that you're passionate about, you should enjoy
Accountants
it.
are passionate about
I don't know what's wrong with them. Why are they even
Sometimes
doing
are.
that?
But with the creative industry, you can fake it till you make it.
You can fake.
As to fake it till you make it.
You can look like you're having a good time, but it's the worst. And then still people are happy. So I guess that's the thing with people pleasing.
Yeah,
right?
but like, I mean, you've literally met, Kim has met a lot of people. A lot of people. Did you hear? Okay, no, you know what? It's fine.
Did I hear? I want to hear.
What do you do, Kim? Tell the people what you do. Like,
So that's the hardest question to answer. Because
because she's a creative. Creatives will give you like a list of like 10
we're
things.
creative about what we do, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have it. No, but you just mention a few.
Okay, fine. So my name is Kim.
This will help in
Makumbe.
context, guys. I know where. Let me land.
All right. My actual intro. So the name is Kim Makumbe, but you can call me Kimbe Baby. I'm a singer. I'm a songwriter. I'm a voiceover artist. I am also, that's where it gets murky. But to summarize it, I'm a music business executive and a creative business consultant. Like you could throw anything and everything in there, but as long as it's around the creative space.
Wow. You know what? Let's just get right into it. I want to know how you're dealing with the business in music.
I do music full time. So I had to, make the decision that, okay, if I'm going to do this full time, I need to know where the money is because, we're not going to starve.
Just
A girl
because we're
gotta
creative
eat.
doesn't mean we
I
want
mean,
to
you
be
have
broke.
to start. But then I then got into like the wormhole of the music business side of things. And the very first thing that I discovered, oh my God.
Yes, let's go there. These are the juicy parts. These are the juicy parts. Let's go there.
Okay, let me try to sugarcoat it a little bit. When you get into the wormhole and you're like, okay, so how am I going to make money out of this? And then you realize that there's no industry to start with. So,
So
everybody's trying to like make shift and, make things work for themselves. And then trying to see, okay, so what can I do? Since now I've come across this well of information of how the music business world is working out there, and we don't have any of that here. So at least there's very little bits of it. So what is my role in bringing those systems into, my society? Because it's either you do that or you leave. So, I'm trying to be the good Samaritan.
that's the difference between failure and success.
I guess so. And sometimes there is success in leaving. So it just depends on, you.
Yeah, I guess it depends. If you're gonna leave, where you gonna go?
Yeah.
But I think sometimes you're just so passionate. Like it's not that easy to leave, guys. We can tell each other that no, you need to have the money and what. But like you're not gonna see me doing formulas.
There's something that's going to keep pushing you to keep doing that.
Yes, the incessant repelling energy that I have towards Excel.
Yeah. I think when you...
No, guys. Okay.
What's your Excel story?
It was just so hard.
What happened? What did he do?
It's so hard.
I'm gonna cry. No, you know what? I had the opportunity rather to enter that side of like the industry, the part where it's like the business side and all of that. And the truth is, you need the business execs to help, like the music execs, because like you can be as talented as you want, but like if you don't get like a certain level of organized in terms of your finances, in terms of how you do business, in terms of your ethics, you're going to crash and burn, you know, and sometimes you see it. When you do events, you work with like different singers, artists, and you deal with managers that are not managers.
Yeah.
I think it's vitally important as individuals to learn discipline on our own, so that you can be able to deal with everything when you go out there.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. I mean, I know you do both, but like, is it not difficult to be like, I'm going to be my own manager and I'm going to be the singer, I'm going to be the songwriter, like putting yourself in the position of like you have to handle all of that on your own? Because technically, there's a reason why there's different titles for all of these things. Like, how do you handle that?
Well, I'm gonna brag a little bit. I'm a woman. That's how I handle all of that.
I like it when women brag because, like, no, let's cut the humble.
No, they need to be
stuff.
put on a pedestal. Come
Yes.
To be honest, I think naturally we're built to handle a lot of things at the
We're
same
naturally
time.
multitaskers.
So I think that's one thing I would say. But do I sometimes feel like I'm crashing and burning? Yes. Do I have mental health issues sometimes? Yes. I won't even.
See, now that's how you don't want.
I mean, but then I think it's just the realization that, you know, I was having a conversation with someone and they were saying, okay, I will just say the name, Nyasha David. He was saying that there's a difference between talent and gift. Talent is something that you have, people identify you for it, they celebrate you for it. A gift is something you have to give. So that's a burden. So in as much as you know, do it for the fun of it and you want to do it whilst you enjoy it, if it's a gift, you will be tormented if you don't pursue it.
Yeah.
So I had to get to a point where I pursue it. And then I realized, okay, if I'm going to turn this into a business and actually make a living out of it, or at least create a living for other people around me, how best can I do it? So that I had to get into that. So double dipping is... it's tough, but I think it's very important for every artist, to get back to your question, to actually understand the business side. Maybe not like go deep into it, but at least understand
surface
it.
level knowledge.
Yes, so that if you are going to have other people come on board, you know exactly which shoes they're fitting, and if they can't do it, you tell them to go because you know exactly how it's done. That's how a lot of artists get changed because they don't realize that their managers are saying crap behind their backs, or like it's very
Or
sad.
they're making them lose out on
Yeah,
gigs.
exactly. Because I've come across like a particular artist was one of my favorites, and they've been literally cut off on the legs by their manager. They don't realize it because you get into spaces, they're like, no, we like his or her music, but the managers. So no.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I have an artist that I don't want to work with because of that.
Your
I'm gonna-
representation is important.
It was so terrible. Like it shouldn't be so hard to book an artist.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be so hard because now the first layer that you meet is your management team, so to speak. And if that on its own is terrible, I would just like to say, I'm not going to say your name, but you have missed out on opportunities because of your manager.
But unfortunately, you know, there's no standard to it. Like a person can just see you and be like, I like your work, let me manage you. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
Or like, May is my homie. I think I think you know me. Like, you can be my manager.
And then there's no like skill set that comes with that. No one really knows what the standards are. They're not even willing to learn. Like I'm always going to music business workshops, conferences, this and that. I've got one this week. But you don't see people's managers or artists.
How?
Yeah, it's I don't know.
So where are you guys getting these skills that you use to manage your artists? If you don't go to the conferences and you don't go.
I think as an artist, you just need to know your person. Like, I think you should know what you want first.
But you don't, though. I don't think you get the opportunity. Like, you can't.
You don't?
Like, okay,
Like
what
you
I mean
don't.
is,
As an artist, you know that you don't want
you
a manager
know.
who cheats you.
Yeah.
You don't want a manager who's
But
like
you
what you're
don't
saying,
But how do
crap
you know
behind
they're
your back.
cheating you?
But
how
then
do you know?
I don't know. To be honest,
how
I
will
don't
they
know. But your skills should speak for you. Your
but
skills
like
should
the
speak
only
for
way
you.
you find out is to put them to taste.
Exactly.
And then now
Exactly.
you're not getting booked.
When you
So no solution.
There's no solution. There's no
just
solution.
try and
Yeah, but
all the
okay.
best.
I mean, I was complaining about Excel, guys, but I think there's certain skills that, when you're, and I'm going to speak for everybody, I'm going to hold your hand. That's what they do on TikToks. I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. Whatever industry you're in, they just like skills that kind of cut across the board that you need to know. I learned Excel a bit too late. That's why I cried. And that's why that's the boyfriend that broke my heart. But we're on good terms now. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. What skills do you think work, like, you are mainly in music, yes. But like, what skills would you say kind of like cut across all industries?
Just be a good person.
That will not help.
But I agree.
You'll be a good person.
I agree. You do
Just be
boundaries.
a good person. To
Boundaries.
Yeah, just
Learn
do unto
boundaries.
others as you'd want them to do unto you.
yeah,
Before we
that's
even
just
talk
the
about
golden rule.
before we even talk about Excel and drafting invoices and editing, just be a good person. I think.
Do you know,
Yeah.
no one wants to work with an artist that's not workable with. So I agree with that.
Morals are respect time.
Good.
Good is a broad term. I'm good. But I also
do
just
you
called
know how
out
to
an
treat
artist
people
for being
nicely?
a terrible manager. But I'm a good person.
Let's just circle back a little bit. What is it to be a good person? I think it's just, having a sense of empathy, just doing things that you would be okay having done to you. Now, that's also like a little tricky, but just basic. If you don't want someone to lie to you, don't lie to someone else.
Yeah.
If you don't want someone to mistreat or like mishandle your things, then don't mishandle other people's things. Like, just try your best. I think, in a way, like if the world had that sense of empathy, a stronger sense of empathy, I think certain issues wouldn't even be issues right now.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just that most people are like really self-seeking, so they don't care who they're gonna step on and who's gonna go under the bus as long as they are on the bus.
Yeah.
Somehow I heard, leaders' names and everything that she was saying. World leaders' names. In my head, I was just like, that sounds like Mussolini.
I know, right? But
No, but I mean, like, being good translates across the board. Once again, it's as much as I asked about skills, like being good is something that translates across the board.
I want to know how your family accepts, what you're doing, the music that you're doing. Are they supportive? Like,
Oh my goodness. I feel like you hit the great button.
Yeah.
I know we jump topics, but I think I'll more like this one.
yeah, are your relatives like, like when you guys go for gatherings, are they just like, Kim, we see her singing around, she's doing this or what? How are they responding to your music?
disclaimer, I love you all.
But you guys are headaches to her life.
To be honest, for me, the only person whose opinion really mattered was my mom. So when she gave me the heads up and when she was like, it's cool, she's always been very supportive.
Yeah.
Everybody else can go jump off a cliff, but she's been really supportive. So she's always been supportive because I was a major academic. She was supportive of that. The only thing she wasn't supportive of was when I wanted to quit school in grade 7 so that I can do music.
Yeah,
I'm
it
sorry,
was too
grade
early.
7?
That was too early.
You were like, guys, it's
I
not
was
my
like,
thing.
I'm
I'm out of here. I don't need this.
She had not yet reached
I mean,
O-level,
it's
guys.
a long, short story, to be honest. So what happened was my music teacher in 5th grade told me that I think we were doing some funny hymn. We had never sung this hymn before. And I started singing the harmony of, what she was teaching us. And she said, have you heard the song before? I was like, no. But I was just singing the harmony of it. She was like, that's really good. You've got such a powerful gift. You should use it. She was telling the wrong person. Because now I felt like,
Because
I should be
grade
a child star. Yeah. So this was before Justin Bieber. This was before Willow Smith. So I was like, I was going to be the first child star, and then Justin Bieber happened. I was like, okay, maybe I'll be the first black girl, and then Willow Smith happened. I was like, you know what?
You're like, spotlight gone.
Yeah. So I thought maybe let me just quit the school thing, get straight to YouTube, and then just be a child star and whatever. And my mom was like, heck no. Yeah. And it didn't make it better because I was good in school. So
Yeah.
she was like, just continue with that. To the point where she told my sister that if anything happens, just make sure she finishes grade 7.
No, because grade 7 is too far, guys.
You needed to have O
I
levels,
think of
girl.
it this
Bro.
way,
Yeah.
right? Think of places where children have certain skills instilled in them from a young age. They become experts
They
by the
really
time
do.
they're 18. So I would would probably be somewhere right now, you know?
No, but I think it's more like you needed to join them.
Okay.
I mean, if you hear like some of these like really wild child stars, they'll say, no, they went to Harvard. Like they just, obviously what we see on camera is just them being on camera. But like they go to school and they do the things.
Yeah.
There's some that don't, and you can see that they didn't.
Do you think we can have schools where we can see children's talent? Like you can sing. If I see that at a young age, I would rather not take you and do your grade 7 or level. I'll just take you and you can go and do your music at that certain school, fashion school, acting school, or mechanic school, whatever it is. Do you think that's wise? Or you think because we are in Africa, we're in Zimbabwe, we should go with Simsek, we should go with Cambridge, and then we balance the music, the fashion, etc.
I'm definitely a whole don't try to teach a fish to climb a tree person. Because imagine how many people who didn't do too well on their O levels, and then they get to a point where they start feeling like they're not good enough for anything because they couldn't meet this one standard that was set, you know, by somebody who had no idea how terrible what they were doing was or how good it was, whatever, relatively. So I think if we look at the society as it is right now, it's changing. There are certain things that we valued back then, which then brings us back to the whole conversation where my family is supportive or not. There are some people, some relatives so dear to me that do not talk to me because I'm doing music.
Oh my soul.
Yeah, they're like, girl, you've got 11 A's. What are you doing?
No, but like it's working though.
That's the thing. And then the same people are super proud of you when you get like a mention from a super big artist or you're working with a big brand and they're like, 1 hour do you know. But then at the end of the day, I think what's more important than anything is self-discovery. If there is a platform where people can learn who they are, and I think school is the best place for that to a certain extent. And as much as, yes, we're learning by the book, there's certain things that you can try out. And then if you realize that you're good at something, getting that support to continue with that. In as much as we want to say, territorially speaking, it's better for you to follow this because you're here. We're becoming a global village.
Yeah, we are.
You know, and you might not be big in your territory, but because of the internet, you might end up popping off somewhere, which is not where you are. So clearly, nothing is impossible anymore.
Yeah, I think the problem is just that we don't have enough schools that do that. I mean, if you want your child to be exposed to music and all that, you need to be at a specific like class, basically.
Yes.
Otherwise, guys could get to music.
Yeah, they just discover it among themselves, you know, in their groups, unfortunately.
Yeah, but like sometimes it's like you need to, that's what she was saying, like sometimes you need to have all the options. I think that's actually the situation, the conversation to be like, kids need to have the entire like options there. Like, okay, you can go this path, they can go this path, but people are not exposed to that. I didn't go to a school that had like, you know, the talent stuff, like at least in primary. Only in high schools when I was like, okay, now I'm like exposed to stuff. And that was only because I was in a different country. Otherwise in Zim, we were just basic, and our school was basic. They give you basic education. They do basic athletics,
basic curricular activities. So
there's no instruments. There was no instrument.
I actually experienced that as well in high school, where the school I went to for O level, there were no instruments. There was the only musical thing was the church choir, because it was a mission school. So I remember I was so hungry to create music because I loved music so much. And then I discovered that there was like a mbira in the staff room. They never used to lock the staff room. So I would go in there, get the mbira, then teach myself a few things. That's the closest thing I had to music. Then they then took it out for some reason. But I also think if there was a way to nurture these talents or these gifts from a young age, that's the reason why we have people who are so good at what they do because they've been doing it forever. You know, like think of, for example, this is one name you should never say in a podcast, but I will say it, Beyonce.
Anyway, that's the end of the podcast.
Cancelled. I'm kidding. But yeah, like starting off from a very young age, you know, and then her reaching wherever she is right now, she can do that because at the end of the day, the time then pays off. The time you've put in there, the lessons you've learned, and all the other things that you do. And then every time you get into a place, you're like, you're so talented. You've got such an amazing voice. How come we don't know you? Or how come you're not in these spaces? Because at the end of the day, it's really not about what you can do. It's about what you do about it. It's about how you package it. It's about who you're working with. It's about who you know. It's about who likes you. It's about who does. There's a lot of things. They used to say talent is 30%. I think it's now down to 5%.
Wow.
What's the other percentage?
Everything else. Yeah, because
So apparently, like, having talent is not enough, eh?
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
I want to know, like, do you, like, as an artist, do you want to get invited to every festival, or you're quite choosy about where you want to perform?
I think it depends on the stage that you're at as an artist. There's a certain stage that you have to just be in as many places as possible, just so that you can have an opportunity to show what you're capable of, as well as to learn certain things. And then as your value increases, you then limit the number of times you appear in the crowd. So it's no use being, I'll say the name again, Beyonce in your backyard.
We should have ended the episode the first time she said it.
We'll find another pseudo name. Fine.
Please.
But it's no use, trying to keep to yourself and trying to be this exclusive person when you don't have the numbers or whatever it is, whatever value other people perceive as value that they would, pay as much as you would want them to pay to have you, to have your presence in a
Zimbabwean
place.
slang, wanochiti celebrity. Statutory celebrity.
Sometimes though, but niggas shouldn't celebrities, just you setting boundaries. And,
honestly, that's an unfortunate thing, but like it's been set up because there's people who actually do that. Like, you kind of need to have a certain level of like, humbleness. You need to be a bit tangible, especially if you're starting out. You kind of need to be relatable. You can't now want to be like, no, I'm exclusive. Because like what you said, like it depends on what stage you're at. You can't want to act like you're exclusive when you are just Natasha who started yesterday.
I know, but when I'm exclusive, why can't you understand that I don't want to get a picture with you today? Or
that's the thing though.
Remember
the good person thing?
No, okay. Now you're using it against me.
I'm coming back to it. That's what I was saying. We're not reaching world peace. I repeat, this is maybe the 4th time.
But I feel like as fans, you people have to understand. Today, I don't want a picture.
Yeah, but today's the only
today
time
the crowd is just like
today's the first time I'm
dealing
seeing
with mental health issues.
But
she's celebrity, Jojo.
But today's the first time I'm seeing you.
So what do you want me to do?
I want a picture.
Then you hear about stars that end up being rude to fans. It's because I'm just not in the mood that day.
Okay, we were getting there. Okay. You did it in so awkward way. Okay, I guess we are out of time.
Okay.
We're out of time, but thank you so much for coming through.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I was very biased and I wanted to know about the exec stuff, but like you guys are not gonna get that piece. I'm gonna ask her afterwards. So that's not my fault.
I mean, we do charge for it, so it's
okay.
quite exclusive. But I think,
or you can go to the conferences.
Yes.
So, I think you can pick up some of the nuggets from what I was saying, and also just knowing that at the end of the day, there are 4 things to every artist. There's the art, there's the artist, there's the brand, and there's the business. So you cannot think that just by sitting in the studio and creating the art that you've made it. No, you haven't. So it's 4 major things that need to be serviced, and then anything else you can reach out to me and we talk at a fee.
Of course, I was about to say that. I'm like, but you guys can go through me, and I'll get you a discount that will technically have Zeno. But you don't know that.
Why is it called Zeno though?
I have no idea.
Because people be smiling. Because
So
they'll be smiling.
it's so weird. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Bye.
So that's a wrap from us from Sisterhood. I hope you enjoy getting all the tips and tricks from our amazing guests. Be sure to catch us next time on our next episode. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. Bye.